Okay, so SEO best practices. There are so many guides out there on best practices for on-page optimization that for me, I decided to synthesize it into just a couple of big picture bullet points that I think you guys will understand once we're done. So when you're thinking about on page, everything that we talked about in terms of my process, this is how it's synthesized into like just some simple bullet points. First, uniquely valuable. What information am I providing to people that's going to be uniquely valuable and help solve their problem? So if it's something that's content driven, all right, that's one thing. But right now we're a local business, right? And we're trying to make certain that people, when they're trying to find what they're looking for, we can help them solve that problem. So if someone's looking for pepperoni pizza, and then we should be able to talk about the fact that we have pepperoni pizzas at our place. We have anchovy pizzas. Why not talk about those things on your website? You know, try to look at your competition, but be uniquely valuable and definitely have the menu on your site. That's a given. It always shocks me for restaurants that don't do that, but that's very important. So that's the first best practice that I want to mention. Secondly, metadata ready. So many of you out there have probably heard of those meta descriptions. So those are the descriptions that show up when you actually perform the search in Google and you see the title, but then you see that text underneath the title. That's what we call meta description. And you want to be metadata ready. You want to have a nice, 100 to 160 character, phrase, or not phrase, but sentence or sentences in that area that is keyword centric. That's important. Because it's not that meta descriptions have a direct impact, but it can have an impact from a click-through rate standpoint because people who read those meta descriptions will see it and they'll say to themselves, oh, this is relevant to what I'm looking for. Let me click on this listing. That's important. That's something that's worth considering. Built to be shared. So, this is something that's simple, but I just wanted to add this in there. Having your social buttons on your site is important. And you also want to have the social buttons in places where it can be easily seen. So whether it's in the footer, it's on an individual page, you want your site to be easily shared with people. Because the more shares you get, remember, that does have a small impact from an optimization, but more so from a ranking standpoint. So I thought that was important to share with you guys. Phenomenal user experience. And part of that means your site must be either responsive or mobile ready. I tell you guys again and again, and I'll say it again, mobile is the way of the future. I mean, it's here now. It's not just the future, it's here now. So it's not just about you having a site that conforms amazingly well to a desktop. It also has to provide a great user experience from a mobile standpoint. So that's very, very important. I can't tell you how many clients we work with that we give so much business to a lot of web developers because a lot of our clients don't have mobile ready websites. And once we show them the statistics and the numbers and increasing conversions for clients that we've worked with in the past, they're like, well, this is a no-brainer. We have to make the conversion. So very critical. Keyword targeted, probably the most important SEO on-page best practice. You have to do your research and you have to figure out what terms is that people are most likely searching for as it relates to your business and optimize your site, not keyword stuff, but optimize your site based on those keywords. And so I'm going to give you guys a tutorial on Google Keyword Planner and how to use it for this purpose, but it's very, very critical, and I think you will get a lot of value out of it. And then lastly, but just as important, is what we call crawler bot accessible. So this is more of a technical SEO thing, but it's still kind of on page, right? Because if these crawlers or the Google's bot, for example, cannot crawl your site, then how can you show up in Google? Now, most people typically don't block Google's bots, but a lot of different folks have reasons for doing it, right? But ultimately, this is a best practice. You want to make certain that the crawler itself is accessible and you're making your site accessible. And this is primarily through your, if you have a WordPress driven site, it's primarily through your robots.txt file. And we'll talk about that in the other section on technical SEO. But for now, these are the SEO best practices at a high level. There's a lot of different sub best practices we'll be talking about throughout this conversation. But I want you to just take a second right now and just look at those and think about that as you're thinking about your business, you're thinking about local SEO, you're thinking about the services that you provide, building out individual landing pages for your services, not putting all of them on just one page. Those things matter. We're just not looking for thin content. We're looking for girth. We're looking for depth of content that helps people find what they're looking for and provides a phenomenal user experience. If you're doing those things, you'll be in great shape, guys. All right. Hope this has been helpful. Now we'll go on to the next one.